Welcome, Sagittarius and those with Sagittarius rising. In July, the Sun always moves through the sign of Cancer, starting from the last week of June and continuing throughout the entire month. This is the time when the area illuminated by the Sun becomes the center of attention, a source of focus and inner inspiration. For Sagittarius, Cancer occupies the 8th house of the zodiac wheel, symbolizing the deepest and most private issues within your personal growth journey. On the surface level, the 8th house often relates to shared finances, credit, taxes, banking, loans, inheritances, or money that comes from others, such as through a partner or sponsoring institution. This isn't money earned openly or through direct effort, but rather resources that flow through collective systems, legal bindings, or relationships rooted in contracts and long-term commitments. But on a deeper level, the 8th house opens up a transformative path. It's tied to intimacy, hidden emotions, and life experiences that have the power to profoundly shift your worldview, whether through therapy, astrology, or an inward journey of emotional excavation. So when the Sun passes through this region, its light doesn't just highlight financial obligations, it also stirs up questions about dependency, trust, vulnerability, and your capacity to both give and receive, materially and emotionally. What makes this July especially unique is the presence of Jupiter in the sign of Cancer itself. This transit began last month and will continue until the end of June 2026. In Western astrology, Cancer is the sign where Jupiter is exalted, meaning it can express its most beneficial qualities to the fullest: expansion, luck, protection, and vision. When the Sun illuminates the same area of the sky where Jupiter is currently residing, the result is a magnified spotlight effect. Themes linked to the 8th house not only become more visible, but are also amplified by Jupiter's influence. This may mark a significant financial turning point, a deep awakening in your intimate relationships, or a major step forward in your emotional and psychological transformation. This is the time to re-examine your relationship with assets, power, and suppressed emotions, not to control them, but to understand and release them. Because if you know how to work with this energy field, a gateway to holistic growth, both materially and spiritually, is waiting to open. Under the resonance of Jupiter, the 8th house, which is often considered the most enigmatic area of the birth chart, becomes clearer and more accessible this month. Here, financial matters bound by agreements such as insurance, taxes, credit, or joint loans begin to be illuminated with practical insight and a potential for positive resolution. Issues that once seemed stuck, legal paperwork, old debts, or inherited assets, may resurface, but this time to be untangled. At the same time, this is also a favorable period for negotiating large-scale financial agreements, especially those involving real estate or long-term investments. Many Sagittarians may receive offers of support from external sources, such as investment partners, family, or lending institutions, if they are willing to take initiative and clearly define their goals. Equally important, the 8th house is where we confront emotional layers that are difficult to name. Doubts, wounds, or feelings of insecurity around vulnerability and sharing may become more prominent. But when these wounds are acknowledged and faced, they can become opportunities for healing. With Jupiter walking beside you, this inner journey doesn't feel heavy. It's more like a door quietly opening, allowing you to transform past experiences into a new foundation for maturity. July marks a rare event. Uranus, the planet of radical change, officially moves into Gemini, where Sagittarius's 7th house resides. While the detailed impact of Uranus will be explored later, it's important to note that this transition begins a nearly decade-long cycle in which one-on-one relationships and collaborative agreements become central to change. At the same time, Venus, the symbol of attraction and joy, also visits Gemini throughout July. The combination of Venus and Uranus in the same sign brings fresh, unexpected, and unpredictable energy, especially in social and romantic connections. Starting July 17, Mercury goes retrograde, a phenomenon that often brings delays, adjustments, or the need to revisit plans related to communication, agreements, and travel. However, with Mercury forming a harmonious angle to Sagittarius, this could be a valuable pause to re-examine your direction and fine-tune your long-term strategies. Additionally, Mars, the planet of action and ambition, is entering Sagittarius' career zone. This signals strongly that July is not only a time of inner awakening, but also a moment to push forward with clear professional goals, driven by determination and leadership energy. Uranus, the symbol of revolution, breakthroughs, and unpredictable leaps, typically changes signs only once every 7 to 8 years. It takes 84 years to complete a full zodiac cycle. That's why each time Uranus enters a new sign, it's not just a short-term shift, it marks the beginning of a transformational chapter on a generational scale. For nearly a decade, Uranus has been residing in Taurus, a zone of energy closely tied to stability, material assets, personal finance, and how society defines lasting value. Its presence in Taurus has shaken global economic foundations, leading to market shocks, the rise of digital currencies, a redefinition of how people use and perceive money, and even transformations in agriculture and natural resources, all bearing the imprint of a quiet but radical revolution. However, on July 6, Uranus will officially exit Taurus and step into Gemini, signaling a pivotal transition both symbolically and practically. This new phase will last until 2033 and usher in an era of innovation in the realms of information, communication, and social thinking. Gemini is the sign of agile intellect, language, general education, and connective systems such as journalism, social media, and the internet. As Uranus, forward-looking and rule-breaking by nature, enters this energetic space, a wave of invention and disruption in communication technology is expected. Artificial intelligence, AI, language translation tech, virtual reality, and even educational models, or the way people process daily information, all will evolve rapidly, reshaping society itself. This is a time when the way people share knowledge, express thoughts, and build connection systems will no longer be the same. From how we use technology to how we engage in personal dialogue, everything will be redefined in a way that's both revolutionary and deeply challenging. This event not only affects the broader environment, it also serves as a reminder. Those who adapt quickly to the flow of new thinking and those who know how to leverage technology to expand their understanding will be one step ahead in their own evolutionary journey. When Uranus officially enters Gemini, a zodiac sign that lies directly opposite Sagittarius, its energy won't just have a distant influence, but will shine directly onto the 7th house, the area that governs one-on-one relationships, including marriage, business partnerships, legal contracts, and those who play the role of the other in your life. This is a once-in-a-lifetime transit, and with an influence that spans nearly a decade, it has the potential to completely reshape the way you perceive and engage in long-term relationships. Uranus doesn't bring stability, it brings waves of disruption, urging freedom, breaking outdated boundaries, and opening the door to new, unconventional forms of connection. For some, this may appear in the form of a non-traditional relationship, an open, flexible, or even unconventional partnership by societal standards. Those who've previously followed traditional romantic models may find themselves curious or unexpectedly drawn to an alternative lifestyle where personal freedom and respect for individual boundaries become central. Uranus pushes people out of rigid structures, whether that shift comes suddenly or without invitation. Restrictive relationships may need to be restructured or even dissolved to create breathing room for individual identity. This change may arrive as a jolt, an unexpected encounter, a sudden decision, or a series of events that forces both individuals to re-examine how they love and live together. But within that sense of rebellion, Uranus offers a liberating invitation. When released in the right way, a relationship doesn't just survive, it can be reborn on a foundation of honesty, independence, and emotional intelligence. During this period, those who bravely face their inner truths will be the ones to lead a new definition of us. Venus, the symbol of love, attraction, and creative expression, will be in Gemini from July 4 to July 30. This is the only time Venus returns to this area of the sky this year. But what makes this visit special is that it happens simultaneously with Uranus, the planet of awakening, breakthroughs, and unexpected turn. Astrologically, the combination of Venus and Uranus can be likened to an electric spark touching an emotional nerve, explosive, surprising, and deeply stimulating. If you're single, this could be a time of fated encounters, a seemingly random meeting that stirs powerful emotions and awakens a desire to connect in ways never experienced before. If you're in a relationship, a deeper yearning for freedom, personal space, and novelty may rise to the surface. The presence of both Venus and Uranus in Gemini highlights the need for intellectual communication in relationships. No longer are surface-level sweet words enough. There is now a desire to be truly understood and to be heard from a place of genuine connection. Lovers aren't just seeking romance, but also the feeling of being mind-soul companions. However, if a relationship is already steeped in control, jealousy, or fear of abandonment, this is the moment it could easily unravel. Because Uranus does not tolerate confinement. Those who try to hold on too tightly may unintentionally push the other person away. On the other hand, if both partners can open up and allow space for each other, the relationship has a chance to restructure, becoming freer, healthier, and more mature in how it bonds. For many, this may also mark a significant shift in how love is defined, from physical attachment to mental companionship, from the need to possess to the desire to understand. Sometimes the end of romance doesn't mean the end of the relationship. It could be the transition toward becoming true life partners, companions, instead of captors. And with the harmony between Venus and Uranus, July could become the beginning of an entirely new kind of relationship. One that doesn't fit old molds, but turns out to be exactly what the heart has been quietly waiting for. Such opportunities, whether in love, connection, or even emotional awakening, typically return every 12 months, as Venus revisits the same zodiac sign. But in the coming period, attention will shift to another planet, Mercury. Mercury, the symbol of information, communication, thought, and planning, will move through Leo, a fire sign that shares the same element with Sagittarius and aligns with the 9th house in the natal chart. This period of influence, spanning from June 26 to September 21, will amplify the energy of mental expansion, intellectual travel, and the ability to learn new things beyond familiar boundaries. The 9th house is the domain of higher knowledge, advanced education, law, philosophical thought, publishing, and journeys that cross borders, both literal and metaphorical. This is an ideal time to set long-term academic goals, write a book, build large-scale media projects, or prepare for a journey that could shift one's worldview. However, starting July 17, Mercury enters its retrograde phase, a cycle often associated with slowing down, review, and adjustment. During this time, international travel may face delays, rerouted itineraries, or issues with paperwork and procedures. Plans involving marketing, publication, or academic enrollment may encounter setbacks, not necessarily failures, but moments that require more thorough scrutiny. On a spiritual level, this is also a time when personal belief systems may be tested. There could be debates around ethics, philosophy, or politics, sometimes pulling participants away from the original topic, leading to emotional extremes or miscommunications. In some situations, a tendency to preach may cause others to feel pressured, highlighting the need to adjust how perspectives are expressed and to share ideas with more wisdom. For those currently in school or training, two opposing scenarios may arise: a desire to withdraw temporarily for realignment, or a renewed seriousness about returning to study, not just for the diploma, but to sharpen professional skills or fulfill an intellectual aspiration that's been long overlooked. Under Mercury's influence in the 9th house, everything revolves around expanding one's horizon. But the prerequisite is a willingness to change how you think, relearn how to learn, and examine your own beliefs with clearer, more awakened eyes. With the alignment of Mars in the 10th house, Jupiter in the 8th, and Uranus in the 7th, this month powerfully activates personal ambition and new partnership models. It's a ripe time to reshape your career direction in a more intentional and daring way. Projects that were once delayed may now be relaunched, and tendencies toward leadership, innovation, or stepping into guiding roles will become more pronounced in your work life. What makes this phase particularly significant is its interplay with the broader astrological landscape. Jupiter residing in the 8th house, finances, investments, resources from others for the next year, and Uranus laying a new foundation in the 7th house, partnerships, contracts for the next 8 years. Taken together, this suggests that resources, partnerships, and financial opportunities could be redefined in a comprehensive way. If a partnership, whether in marriage or business, has become outdated, forced, or no longer reflects the present reality, this is the time when it will need to shift, restructure, or dissolve entirely to make room for a more effective model. You can't hold on to an old structure and still expect growth. For those who've always believed they were better suited to solo warrior models in their career, July may offer a new perspective. Partnership, but the smart, complementary kind. A successful working relationship at this time doesn't require two identical individuals, but rather two distinct roles. One person might be the operational manager, while the other is a creative, a seller, or an inspirer. The key lies in clear division of responsibility and mutual respect for each other's strengths. When each person is free to thrive in their respective roles, the entire work ecosystem runs more smoothly and effectively, especially in a climate where external resources like funding, clients, or market opportunities are increasingly drawn to partnership models that are flexible and authentic. Thank you for accompanying this month's astrological forecast for Sagittarius. And if you're looking for a more personalized perspective or hoping to explore the specific potentials in your own birth chart, feel free to visit Gardino.co for more information about personal astrology reading services, including the popular 2 in-depth questions package that many have come to love. See you in the next video, wishing you clarity, resilience, and the readiness to embrace the unexpected opportunities that this new month is bringing your way. And don't forget, every planetary transit is an invitation. The real question is, are you ready to step through the door that's opening?